Jedi Survivor is kind of a tragic game. In many ways it was a perfect sequel, but a lot of its performance issues ended up overshadowing the other aspects of the game, as that was all that everyone was talking about at launch, and rightfully so. But it's been a few months and I thought, why not review this game and talk about the things I liked and disliked about the game. Keep in mind that there will be mild spoilers in the review with regards to gameplay, so if you want to go into this game completely blind, I would rather you watch this video later, but don't worry, I won't be spoiling the big parts of the story. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. The story of Jedi Survivor is really well done in my opinion, as it builds upon what has already been established in the first game. Every single member of the Mantis was brought back and they all had their own character arcs that fleshed them out more, which made you care for them even more. Cal was obviously the standout cause they focused on his endless struggle of being a Jedi and what it truly means to be a Jedi, and left him in another problem to solve towards the end of the game. Bode was the best new character in my opinion that they introduced, and I love how they handled his relationship with Cal. I really enjoy what they did with their characters and I can't wait to see how they develop them in the next game. The general story of the High Republic, which is what this game is focusing on, was interesting in my opinion, as they introduced some interesting characters and a whole new plot. However, I also get how people will not be totally interested in this, as the High Republic storyline was never that popular in the Star Wars community, and I can agree with them to a certain extent. The Old Republic and the Galactic Republic were more interesting, but I still found the New Republic to be decent as well. Overall, I think the story was done well, as they handled the characters decently, they had nice arcs, and introduced some interesting new storylines that people will enjoy. Everything that was great about the gameplay in Fallen Order was improved on in this sequel, which is amazing. Combat feels more fluid, there is more enemy variety, and they added more options to combat. This is the new lightsaber stances that have advantages and drawbacks to every single stance. Crossguard is slow but powerful, double bladed is good for crowd control, dual bladed is good for getting in fast attacks, and the single blade is a good all-rounder, and the blaster stance is good when enemies are out of range. I love the amount of options you have for combat and how you can tackle encounters in different ways. The only small problem I have with this is that you are not forced to use a specific stance to defeat like a certain enemy. The game lets you tackle any enemy with any stance without really having any drawbacks to it, which I don't really mind since you have more options, but it can be a small problem for some people. Overall, I feel like they have really improved on the combat system from the previous game, which makes this such an enjoyable experience. However, the performance issues really held this back at launch, which is why many people did not talk about this combat system, as the game was in such a bad state at that point of time that was all anyone could really talk about. Traversal has also been improved in this game with the addition of a dash, certain wall climbing mechanics, and a grapple hook. It helps to make it more fun, and I'm glad you get these abilities earlier on in the game when compared to the previous game, where you unlock the double jump towards the end of the game, which made it feel a lot more restricted in the beginning of the game. The traversal truly shines in the specific challenges you can do, which can be difficult but feels very rewarding once you figure it out. I also like how they incorporated it into the exploration when you wanted to get a specific collectible or get into an area. I thought it was well done, and I really enjoyed the traversal in this game. Exploring the world of Jedi Survivor is a really rewarding thing you can do, especially if you are a Star Wars fan. It really makes you feel like you are exploring the vast galaxy of Star Wars and seeing what it has to offer. You are rewarded quite well for exploring. For example, you get a new hairstyle or beard when you find a chest, which I know sounds quite weird, but it's much better than the tons of ponchos you got from the previous games. You can also find some fun boss challenges that make you stronger, or some traversal challenges that challenge your abilities around the world. You can also find tons of lightsaber parts to make your lightsaber look unique, which is so cool to say the least. But the most rewarding thing in my opinion is finding the random people that you will encounter while exploring the galaxy. You learn a lot about them and bring some of them back to Greaser's Bar, which is kind of your home for the most part of the game. I love when games do this, as it's just a really nice way to immerse you more in a game. You learn more about these characters through specific quests, and you build meaningful bonds with them throughout the game. A lot of the collectibles you find will also enhance the quality of your home. For example, you can find specific types of fish all over the galaxy to add to your gigantic fish tank, and it will become cleaner and more diversified as you collect more. They have also given you your own garden to plant the seeds you have collected on your adventures, which is a nice improvement from the small garden you had in the first game. There's also a small mini game which is not so deep but it's still quite fun that you get, that will progressively get better when you get like other units by exploring more of the world. All of these small things I just mentioned is what makes exploration so worthwhile, as it makes the immersion in this universe feel so much better, and it makes you really feel like you are actually a part of this adventure. If you are truly a fan of the Star Wars universe, you will really have a joy of a time exploring everything that the planets in this game has to offer. Jedi Survivor is a sequel worthy of its predecessor. It improves upon everything that was done in the first game and adds even more elements like a better world to explore, which helps to enhance the overall experience of the game. It's a really sad thing that this game was plagued with performance issues when it launched, which helped to sour the overall opinion of this game. It is at least in a much more playable state right now, but I hope the gaming industry stops releasing broken games at launch so we can really enjoy great games at the best. Despite all of its issues, I had a really fun time with this game, as I hardly experienced bugs due to me playing on console, which was the platform that was not as affected with bugs like on PC when the game came out. I also really enjoyed the first game, so it's a no-brainer why I like this sequel, since it did everything that its prequel did, but much better. If you are a Star Wars fan, this is an experience you can't miss.